Hello everyone, I'm Renown Zero, and we are back again talking about some more Rippaverse Detractors, specifically Buster Baxter in actual fandom. We also have some other things to talk about, but first we're going to start with the ISOM number 2 pre-order campaign, as fulfillment is currently going on, currently sitting at $2.190 million, 11,807 cover A sold, 12,213 cover B sold, 3,822 cover D sold, 2,247 cover D sold, with over 2,132 total books donated, with a total purchaser number of 18,635. And of course, anyone can donate comics if they care to do so. You can donate ISOM number 1, ISOM number 2, or both ISOM 1 and 2. These are, of course, the mass print covers of these books, And of course, there were people before that were saying, well, why doesn't Eric July donate Marvel books or DC books? Why would he donate books that he doesn't care about? Why not donate a product that he actually does care about, that he is passionate about? So that makes sense. This right here makes sense. But of course, there were people in the comic book pro industry who are absolutely against this and are trying to destroy the relationship between Eric July and the charity of comic books for kids. We saw this in yesterday's video. People are constantly doing this, and I'll never understand why. But of course, I always have haters from the Fats camp coming in my comments all the time. Who are the reviews coming from? People who have bought the book? I don't know. His local non-life fans who are mad that their superheroes get some? No, those are the people who are passionate about characters that are essentially always getting gender swapped, race swapped, identity swapped, sexual identity swapped all the time. And the people who are behind the characters that they love don't care about those characters. They always want to insert themselves into characters that they did not create, stories of characters that they did not create. And that's what they do to destroy characters that people love and lore that people care about. Or actual critics, again, coming from the camp of the Fats, are people who can't spell worth a damn. This person here hasn't even read the book. And I say, actually, I've read both ISOM 1 and 2, joke's on you. There's even a review of the first book on my channel with a physical book that I bought because I'm not a broke and can actually afford to buy it. Considering you're always in my comments, it would seem you're upset that you can't get any yourself. Please stop projecting your pathetic life onto others. Which they clearly didn't read my comment, because they later respond by saying, have you at least read the book? Or are you still hanging from this person about money he took from you that you'll never make? He didn't take money from me. I willingly gave him my money, and he gave me a product in return. That's called capitalism, you idiot. That is the literal definition of capitalism. Why don't you ever talk about the story? I don't owe you that. Why don't any of you ever talk about the book? No one owes you that. We understand why you want people to talk about the book and why you want people to talk about the story, so you can be like, well, I know what the story is, I know what the book's about, so you don't actually have to spend your money to figure it out, right? And even if someone does tell you about the book and the story, you're just going to say it's not good, which again, it's an opinion you're allowed to have. You actually don't really care about the book or the story, so why should anyone waste their time or energy telling you about it? You never ever mentioned the story and how crappy it is. Again, that's your opinion. That is actually a talking point that Buster Baxter always has, even though his reading comprehension is that of a first grader, because he couldn't even figure out easy plot points from the first book, and he couldn't even figure out easy plot points in the second book now that he's got on into dark waters on a boat and acquired a copy of ISOM 2. Quit calling other people fat when you easily weigh over 230 pounds. LMAO, a talking point that the Fats give to you and they regurgitate it. This is what you're doing. You're regurgitating a non-fact, an opinion that they have of me. You're just regurgitating it because you think it's true, because you're not very intelligent. You're pretty room temperature IQ. You might want to get a clue. That's the difference between the things that I say and the things that you say. I say things that are factual. You don't. You thank them for helping get views and monetization. I'm not going to thank them for literally anything. I get more views when I don't talk about them. And I was close to monetization before I even started really talking about them. I was, I don't know, 40 subs away before I even started talking about them. I'm not 100% on that, but I'm pretty sure it was around that mark. Too bad you're too unintelligent to actually argue with anyone, which I'm not going to argue with someone who can't even spell the word argue. You can't even spell the word argue, and you want me to argue or debate you or debate anyone. I'm not a debate channel. I critique, I commentate, and I criticize. Outright lies about someone that I like, a content creator I like, a product, he's selling a product that I like, and I talk about pop culture news and some gaming news. I don't care to debate or argue with randos on the internet who are not worth my time to argue or debate with. So, of course we have this guy also who is not a fan of mine, but always wants to comment on almost everything, which I'm not going to respond because I don't care enough. But moving on to the Fats, right? Who, this person in particular, believes that they way less than me. And anyone with two brain cells to rub together who are not room temperature IQ could easily figure out just by looking at you and looking at me that that is not true. And no one should take advice about anything fitness-wise when this is you getting twitchy eyes when you're super drunk.
All this bullshit, like not always real looking CGI. Like when you mix live action with
years ago, it's just like
they
it's
don't
lame.
need to make the classic.
Ow.
I don't think that's true.
Oh, look, he's not looking directly at the camera. This is a critique they always have of me when I don't look directly at the camera. My face is sideways, right? They always like to use these weird shame tactics, right? Like right here, where the dude literally goes back and photoshops me of a picture of me that's public, by the way. It is public on my Twitter. It's a picture of me, and the picture of me was of Gina Carano last year at MegaCon Orlando, which is public. I'm not hiding it. It's public on my Twitter. But that's the type of stuff you do. You try to use these weird shame tactics and think you're somehow shaming me. Meanwhile, on a live stream, you can't even keep yourself together.
So so
you go there, you spend. Oh wow, yeah, you have to wake up.
He's all over the place. He's like
wardrobe.
Does that
and then you
bother
get there.
him?
Yes.
There you go. All right, cut. Then you go back into this.
Is he wearing like a yellow? Now they just cram. Yes, there
um,
is. I'm doing it right now. Is your
Going pretty quick.
If I wasn't streaming, this shit would be done already.
Space or something.
And attack diagonally.
It's like it's cool if people
They get
like
to
playing
move
it,
two
but
spaces on their first move also. Shabisky clips cat's ears off. He's gross.
though.
Yeah, as a boxer, he wouldn't.
So this is the person that believes that I'm heavier than they are. Yes, this is the person that probably believes that you should take fitness advice from them. Which nobody should take fitness advice from someone like this. Absolutely no one. Moving on to Buster Baxter, who claims to have gotten a copy of ISOM number 2. We all know how he got it, because that's how he got the first one too. Jumped in the boat, sailed into deep waters, and found the copy of ISOM 2. Just like he did the same exact thing to find a copy of ISOM number 1. Right? Because this is how people think that Eric July is going to look. Now that he put his notes out, which his notes are absolutely terrible because he does the same thing. He does the exact same thing that he did with ISOM 1, where he essentially can't even figure out simple plot points that were told in the book. But this is how Eric actually looks. count his money, making close to 6 mil. Probably made more than 6 mil because, again, as I've said previously, the book sales don't stop after the campaign ends. He's still selling the books after the campaign ends. So he's also still selling merch too. But this is, of course, the amount of notes that Buster Baxter has put out for a 116-page book with 0 ads in it. About 30 sentences of critique or criticism, I guess we'll call it. It ends right here. Then he puts in a bunch of crap about dialogue, plot, characters, setting, and overall. Which, right here, he tries to be funny, which he's not. He thinks he's funny. But, he says Abraham Lincoln appears. It's like, no. And why did he allow certain things to happen? Well, that's explained in the book. But, of course, Buster Baxter has the reading comprehension, again, of a first grader. This is the same type of crappy critique or criticism he had of ISOM 1, where a plot point was specifically talked about in the book, and he couldn't figure it out. He couldn't figure it out. Because that's what we get now. These are the haters and detractors now. People who read the book or make fun of the fans of the product, of a content creator now. This is the crap we get now. These are the low IQ haters that people get now. People like myself get now. Well, as far as the fats, those are the haters I get. But Buster Baxter is the hater that Eric gets. But we also have Mr. Actual Fandom, who had to do an unfortunate ad spot for his new video on Eric July and the Rippaverse. Watch the full video titled, "I Studied a Comic Book Charlatan for a Year." He did this. Instead of working on his own material for a year, you decided to do an entire video on Eric July. That's the great content you decided to put on your channel. That's the great content you decided to put. Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. Yeah. So, at the end of the day, these people just continue to want to see Eric fail. They continue to want to see the Rippaverse go down in flames. And they want to call themselves these saviors of the comic book industry and the saviors of bad content, right? Meanwhile, they can't even write themselves out of a wet paper bag. They always expose themselves for being absolutely unintelligent, illiterate, and just downright idiotic. Thank you all for checking out this video. I really do appreciate all the new subscribers, returning subscribers, new viewers, returning viewers. If you do like this video, hit that like button. Comment below what you feel about all this. Subscribe for more content. Hit the bell for notifications. Set the bell to all that we get notifications anytime I post a new video. And I'll see you all on the next one. Peace.